2021 to have Sarah Thomas Wicker back from the Little Media Agency. Hi, Sarah. How are you?
Hi, I'm good.
Good. It's great to have you with us. And we're going to talk in a moment about social media and not only look back, but also look forward. So that you're joining us again. If this is your first time listening to us at Lunch and Learn with Action Coaching Birmingham, please do ask any questions you'd like, either on the Zoom platform in the questions and answer box, or if you're listening to us live on either Facebook or LinkedIn, please do share, do comment, do ask any questions, and do connect with Sarah and myself. And we'd love to have that conversation either during this webinar or afterwards. But it's great that you'll be able to listen to us today. Sarah, it's been some time since you were last with us. How's life been for you? I guess you're in lockdown like everyone else at the moment.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. But to be honest, it's cold outside anyway, so I actually don't mind too much. I'm just thinking.
Bit of snow over the weekend? Were you making snowmen or?
No, but I'm planning to do a snowman actually later this afternoon. So
still got a bit of snow where you are. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess it lockdown last year, and we continue into lockdown at the moment, don't we? With it sort of, creates a challenge for us. We have to really think hard about how we can market our business in a different way. But just out of interest, so before we get stuck into the trends of 2021, what have you seen as sort of been a real impact of social media and COVID on digital marketing over the last 12 months? How's it been for you?
I mean, first of all, I would say people spend a lot more time on social media than before. I think it's also because our habits have changed. So normally we would go to the office, we would work, but now the boss isn't looking anymore. So people actually spend a lot more time on social media, and during different times throughout the day. Before you could see the peak, let's say in the evening and on weekends. Now people are on social media all the time. So that's definitely changed.
Yeah, I guess even in the news I woke up to, I'm sure many have heard this morning with the sale of Debenhams, and a lot of the traditional ways of doing business, of buying and selling, whether it's retail or any other sector, a lot of big organizations are now thinking further ahead, aren't they? Thinking how things are going to move more digitally and move online into the future. I mean, the fact that Debenhams they've secured a sale for their name and their brand to go online, but not for the retail high streets and the stores. So it's the way of the future, I guess, in terms of how we're going to be doing business, particularly in retail going forwards.
Yeah, I think so. Exactly. Social media has a huge impact on people's buying decision, and it has for a long time. So now it's going to only increase.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, we'll talk about the future shortly. But if you are listening to us for the first time, I'll just repeat: do put any questions or answers, and we'll do our best to give you the answers in the Q&A box on Zoom, or please do ask any questions in the comments box on LinkedIn or Facebook. So Sarah, when we last talked, I think I had just investigated TikTok with my daughter being locked down. Since then, you'll be pleased to know that I put my first post on Instagram only this weekend. So I've now got, I think it's 78 followers from 2 posts. That's what happens when you get a new puppy over Christmas. You start boasting and talking about it. So it's good to have joined the Instagram world. But where are we going in social media into 2021? What do you think where are we now, and what do we need to be looking out for?
I'm just going to share my screen and take you through everything.
Great. I love it when technology works. That's great.
So 2021, I mean, 2020 was a huge year when it comes to social media, obviously, because with everything what's happening, but also 2020 has a great impact on 2021 and people's habits and where we're going. Well, and something you actually mentioned before is the social commerce is on the rise. People are using social media to buy products. And not only social media are impacting our decisions, but moreover, you can now buy things through social media. And it's already on Instagram, it's already on Facebook, but now we know TikTok is partnering up with Shopify. You have catalogs on Pinterest. So actually you can see that more and more social media channels are increasing those options for their customers. And to be honest, it's a lot easier for the user to actually buy directly on social media instead of going to the website and doing a number of clicks to find something.
As I say, I joined Instagram only this weekend. I mean, I've been on there a while, but posted for the first time, and I was surprised actually how many Instagrammers, if that's the right phrase, were posting, and organizations are posting where you could just click on, say, a pair of jeans, you could click on a top or an item, and it would take you either straight to the website, so you could buy it within the platform. It's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. And to be honest, it's making it a lot easier for consumers. Because, for example, you have a post. I mean, it's great, especially for e-commerce businesses. For example, you have a post, and there's like jeans and top. And to be honest, you're not really sure what exactly they're promoting. But the fact that you can now tag your products on every post, and so consumers straight away knows that, let's say, those pants cost X amount of money, that top cost X amount of money. It's all linked, so you can straight away go to the website and buy it, find out more. So it's just a lot easier. It saves people going further. And also, it has been known for a long time that Instagram doesn't want you to ever leave the platform. So by providing those tools for people to buy directly from the platform, they're actually keeping you there for longer. So that's another trick.
That's the same with a lot of the big social media players, isn't it? I know Facebook are keen for you to stay in their platform when you go onto the internet, aren't they? I guess what is the advantage to the social media providers, the platforms of that?
I mean, their goal is always to have as many users as possible, because the more users you have, the more attractive the whole advertising is. Because again, even if you want to advertise, you have to have Facebook account or Instagram account. You can't do it really without. And to be honest, it makes sense. The problem is that Facebook and Instagram are facing, which is, I suppose, from their perspective, can be quite worrying, is that a lot of people are moving away from Facebook and Instagram because of the privacy issues and the data sharing. And actually nowadays we can see a huge increase in new social media platforms that are rising. But this is something obviously they'll have to take into account. But even now on Facebook, let's say if you want to buy Facebook VR, well, I call it toy, but I'm sure my partner would call it something else. You have to have Facebook account to be able to use their VR toy.
So Sarah, just for those listeners who may be early on their journey of social media, Facebook and Instagram, are they jointly owned by one, or are they both jointly owned by Facebook? Is that right?
Yes, exactly. So a few years ago, Facebook bought Instagram, and now Facebook owns Messenger and Instagram and WhatsApp. So actually is becoming it's quite a big share of the most popular social media platforms. So it's all linked. And this is why, for example, if you post on Instagram, you can set it in a way that it goes directly to Facebook and vice versa. So this is also a good thing for business owners who want to manage the platform and don't have much time. With one click, you can post on both platforms to save yourself time. So yeah.
I'm absolutely staggered, Sarah, by the stat you have on the screen there. 55% of online shoppers made through social media. I never would have thought that at all. Do you think that's people not realizing when they're going onto the shop's website that they're still in Facebook?
Well, what I think that also means it's all, for example, if you go on social media and you see an advert and go, I think that includes going to the website, but through social media.
Yeah.
So I think that's very much an impact of Facebook or Instagram advertising, which is huge in e-commerce world. And I'm sure loads of us, saw something on Facebook, went directly to the website, immediately did the purchase. And some of those shares would definitely involve buying directly through Instagram and Facebook.
Yes, and if that was 2018, I can't even imagine what the stats might be for 2020 and going into 2021. It's we're all turning to online commerce, aren't we? E-commerce right now.
Yeah, absolutely. This is actually like an example of the e-commerce. So here, as you can see, something we've mentioned with Steve before, you can actually tag your products, which makes it so much easier for a consumer, because for example, in this room, technically you wouldn't know what's on sale, but actually it shows you. And then also there is a link where you can go further and explore other products. So that's really good way to showcase your products on Instagram. Another thing to take into account, you can also tag your products in stories. So those 24-hour posts on Facebook and Instagram as well.
There's another first for me this weekend as well. So I've been really into my social media, not partly knowing I've got this chat with you, but for the first time over the weekend, I did Facebook stories. So I put a story on Facebook, probably showing my age by the platform I'm using. But is there any advantage over stories versus a general post on social media, whether it's Facebook or LinkedIn? I know LinkedIn are doing stories as well now. Why would one use stories as opposed to a general post?
To be honest, I would suggest it's good to do both. The good things about story is that, for example, if you open your Facebook and Instagram, it's something that appears on people's timeline straight away. So if they want to see the post, they might not be able to see your post depending on the algorithms and whether they follow you, but they're more likely to see your story. So yeah, I would suggest it's good to do both. And definitely stories are rising, because if we have now Twitter stories and LinkedIn stories, and so yeah,
it's obviously working well. Otherwise, the competitors wouldn't copy or replicate, dare I say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, I keep taking you off track. I do apologize. You carry
on. Don't worry. I love questions. Perfect topic. So stories, and again, something that definitely I wanted to mention as well is the fact stories are on the rise. And actually, also, if we look at other marketers, majority of them also use stories in their marketing, in their digital marketing, because they do work. It gives you extra exposure. And also, because those stories that are only 24 hours long, it's a great opportunity to share, 24-hour deals with your customer, or just share, behind the scenes of your business. So this is another, definitely something I would encourage everyone to get involved with. And here is an example actually of stories. On the left, stories, and on the right, reels. Reels, it's this new thing that came to Instagram, which is basically equivalent of TikTok, but on Instagram. Facebook likes to borrow different features from other social media platforms, which is basically a tool which allows you to create fun and quick videos where you can add music, you can add some filters, and edit them to make some fun videos. And to be honest, it's really popular, especially after the rise of TikTok.
So if somebody is, for example, on Instagram and they were thinking of going on to TikTok, they might be better keeping the same platform and doing it within Instagram. Is that fair to say, or is it better to have two different platforms?
I mean, I would say it depends on your audience. I mean, TikTok is huge and it's rising. And TikTok, the benefit of TikTok is that if you post a video of TikTok, you will have a lot higher organic reach than if you posted a reel. Like Facebook, it's, I don't know what's the best way to say it, but it's stingy when it comes to showing your content to everyone without paid ads. Whilst TikTok, they're slowly growing their advertising platform. So it's still organically, you can still, you're at the advantage.
Right, because it's a newer platform, it's more organic still. I remember you saying that last time, I think, about LinkedIn, it was still more organic in terms of exposure.
Yeah, exactly. And also with LinkedIn, because advertising is still pretty expensive, a lot of people at the end of the day choose to promote their companies organically because frankly it's cheaper. TikTok, it's still, the advertising is also pretty expensive, but we imagine that eventually the cost will go down and more people would want to advertise with TikTok or LinkedIn.
Yes,
but at the moment, it's a great platform for organic content. How did you find TikTok? What was your experience when you played around with it?
It was interesting. I was with my daughter actually. We haven't actually posted the TikToks live because of her age, but we were just having a play around with the platform. And what surprised me actually was when I logged on with her. I think it was it was around the Joe Biden inauguration,
Mm.
and TikTok was live streaming, I think, the press conference or something from the White House. So as well as being this sort of fun platform for young people, it was still also live streaming news, which took me by surprise.
Yeah, to be honest, I think TikTok doesn't want to be seen only as the silly platform. They put a lot of effort and money towards promoting the whole educational aspect of TikTok. So they're promoting all the like learning and education, and they also want to be the place where you can see live, like important news and live content. So not just, so I think they want to diversify to ensure that they have and they reach different audiences, not just typical teenagers who just want to do silly videos.
Yes, I think my other takeaway from it, like every social media platform, is being really careful, even more so when it's video, deciphering what is genuine and what is, dare I say, fake news, to use a phrase of a previous president. But there was quite a lot of stuff on there. I'm sure, is that actually true? They're showing a short clip or something's been staged, and so it's just making sure that we're, questioning on any social media platform actually what we're reading, what we're watching. Is that correct? And
Absolutely, and a lot of people think that social media platforms have some responsibility when it comes to fake news. And for example, now I don't know if you've noticed on Twitter, if let's say a post is has questionable source or doesn't seem like it's right, then Twitter will flag it and suggest that maybe it's not right. And also sometimes when you retweet content on Twitter, it will ask you, are you sure, and double check, because they don't want to spread fake news. They want to limit that as much as possible. And I imagine other platforms will also follow, because the fake news, it's really, especially nowadays in this current climate, it's quite a dangerous thing.
Yes, and without taking you off track, I think one of the most interesting conversations, perhaps for me personally, to watch out for over 2021 is once after Trump had his accounts banned in towards the end of last year, beginning of this year, I think it was, wasn't it, with the riots, and just where that leaves who does have the power and the control over free speech and using these platforms. And it'd be interesting to see how that debate develops over the next year, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely, and it shows how powerful is social media.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, well, another. Yes, there we go. AR, it's definitely that something that also it's growing. It's growing on social media, and I've mentioned actually before that Facebook is promoting their Oculus platform as well. And this is something again that will grow on social media, but also something when it comes to AR, what I exactly have in mind is filters on social media. So for example, you can create your own filter, let's say on Instagram, and this way you can promote your brand. So we do, by the way, if you're not sure how to create your filter, we do have a blog about it on our website, or you can get in touch and we can explain. It's a process, but it's doable. So that's the thing. If you create your filter, people would be able to use that filter on your on their social media as well, which again raises awareness of your business. And again, AR is rising, and as you can see by the stats, by 2022, looks like 3.5 billion users. There will be 3.5 billion users who will be using AR. So that's crazy.
And so just for, I don't want to assume everyone doesn't know, but I just want to, for the benefit of our viewers and listeners, AR, augmented reality, are we talking about those sort of big goggles that you used to put on, or is it now just on your phone, on your handset, where you can see things, sort of, I've seen images where people can, sort of take a photo scene, it looks like it's walking across your desk, for example. Is that what you mean by AR, or do you mean the goggles?
Both, to be honest,
Right.
both are rising. But in terms of like social media aspect, here on the screen you can see a great example. So, for example, the way where AR is going on social media, let's say you have, in this example, you have glasses and you sell glasses, and let's say, so you can have one post where, let's say, someone is wearing those glasses and you can tag them in it. But also you can create those glasses as your filter on Instagram. So for example, myself as a user, or in this case, this guy, he can basically take a selfie and try them on as their filter. Obviously, it's not going to work with every product or service, but the great thing about it is, I think the way the AR is going, I imagine that, let's say, in the future, when, let's say, a company wants to sell a dress or pair of shoes, you would be, thanks with your smartphone, you would be able to actually try that dress on with AR, if that makes sense.
Yeah, another great example. So my partner, you just reminded me, actually, was looking at sofas over Christmas, and without naming big retailers, one of the big sofa retailers is using AR, so you can actually use your phone to see how that sofa looks and fits into your front living room or into the room you want it in the house. It sort of places the sofa in the home. So I get what you're saying. It's a huge benefit to be able to help people make their choice and choose your products over somebody else's by having that facility.
Yeah, exactly. And also, more people are buying online, less people are going to shops. And from brands' perspective, thanks to AR, they don't need to have those shops open, because if, let's say, in this situation you want to buy glasses, well, you actually don't need to go to the shop to try them on. You can buy them online, which this is, as we can see, this is where the digital sphere is going, to buy things online with social media. And AR really helps to make those decisions as well.
Brilliant. No, I can absolutely see the way it's going forward is, and do we see it? Do you envisage any sort of timescale for when this really will take off? I mean, I guess there's a limited number of people who are familiar and comfortable using it at the moment, but I guess it's on the increase.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say because this is something that's been growing slowly throughout the years. And also the technology is still developing to make sure it's accessible for every user. But I imagine in next few years, it will definitely take off. And it will be like, nowadays, I feel like I haven't used AR in my shopping experience yet, but I feel like within next 2 years, it will be like natural thing to do.
Brilliant. Yeah, no, absolutely. I can see the way forward. As I say, I've seen some retailers already making good use of it, particularly when we can't get out to the shops. We're in this lockdown scenario.
Exactly. Another thing that I want to mention is chatbots. So what's interesting, 64% of users declare they would rather use Facebook's Messenger to contact a business instead of calling them or emailing them. And that's really interesting, because nowadays people don't want to talk on the phone. They don't want to be put on hold. If they use, let's say, Facebook Messenger or whichever app to contact the business, it's instant. And bear in mind, if you do use Facebook Messenger for your business, people expect to be contacted immediately, at least within an hour. So it does put pressure on businesses and their customer service. But this is very important, something to bear in mind for your business. If you have a business and you have social media, use those platforms to connect with your target audience. Because again, this is a great way to speak to your audience. And also, again, a tip for the future: if someone messages you on Facebook Messenger, carry on the conversation on that platform. If someone is choosing certain platform to contact you, they don't want to go and send you an email afterwards. And I see that quite often, that if someone sends a message on social media, a lot of companies reply, "Oh, just send me an email about it." But if someone is already contact you via, let's say, Facebook Messenger, don't send them to another platform. Don't ask them to call you. Don't ask them to send you an email. Don't ask them to WhatsApp you. Just carry on that conversation, because this is the platform they chose initially.
Yeah, and I guess it's, we live in a very instantaneous world don't we now? And people want that sort of quick response. And I've had problems. I think I mentioned it to you the other day. I've had problems sending parcels to Europe in the last few weeks. And only this morning I was back onto the parcel courier's website, talking to a chatbot to try and find out where my parcels got to. And it is about automating this process as well, isn't it? It's that combination of having real people at the end of the chat and also automation. I know we've got a great mutual friend in Kaneo from Synergy who talks a lot about automation and how you can automate the business to save time and money. But it's a great way through social media to connect with your clients and your prospects, isn't it? Your customers.
Yeah, absolutely. But also, like, you can, with social media, you can do a bit of both when it comes to automation. So, like, you can see in this example, someone is going into their messenger, so you can set up some automation, especially if you're getting a lot of, I mean, if you're not getting that many inquiries via your messenger, I wouldn't worry about it. But if you're getting a lot and it's becoming overwhelming, you can set up some automation. So at least I can ask some initial questions to your target audience, and then follow that up by human conversation, if that makes sense. Which basically will save you time and will save people time as well. Because again, I know myself, I'd rather not pick up the phone anymore to speak to other businesses, because the idea of being put on hold is just puts me off automatically.
Yes, you and me both. And I'm presuming, having spoke, well, I know from speaking to business owners as well, that, using this sort of technology, social media platforms, whether it's, automated through your website, it means that business owners, big and small, don't have to man offices full of staff answering the phones. You can work in a much more flexible, remote and cost-effective way.
Exactly. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you get a lot of messages through social media as well, it can be overwhelming, because you have, let's say, Messenger, then you have Instagram Direct, you have private messages on Twitter, you have all the comments. So it does save you time, but don't get me wrong, you do need to put some time aside to respond to those people. Especially, I would say 24 hours is absolute maximum when it comes to response time on social media.
I guess you may be covering it later on, Sarah, but that just takes me on to a thought about, for any business owner, make sure you've got one or two social media channels and do them well, rather than trying to do, I don't know how many there are, but you probably know more than me, but are there 10 different social media channels? Are there 15? I don't know. If you went on them all, you could spend your time absolutely doing everything, but not doing it to a very good standard.
Actually, there are over 200 social media channels.
Really? Wow.
That also includes like messaging platforms and in the world. I mean, so obviously not all of them would be popular in the UK, but
no.
It can get overwhelming. So I completely agree that it's good to set up 2, 3, maybe even 1, and actually master it, focus on it, instead of trying to do too many things at the same time and then really struggle.
Brilliant. I'm glad we're on the same page.
Another huge trend that it's definitely coming up, it's voice content. We've seen the increase of podcast and how popular it is, and this trend is keep on growing. We can even see that, for example, Twitter created voice tweets, which I'm not sure if any of you've tried to use before, but it's another great way to share different type of content with your audience. So this begs a question: what is the sound of your brand? Which, to be honest, we never actually had to think about before. So to be honest, like, what we would suggest in a company, select probably one person that would be able to share all the voice content, and then that voice will become your brand. So also it's important to think about how what words that person would be using, what's the tone of voice that person would be using. So it's and to be honest, more than 40% use voice technology, and we have social media, we have podcasts, but also like there is radio, but there is like all the things like digital speaker and Alexas and all this stuff. So it's becoming more and more popular. And I don't know if you came across invitation to Clubhouse yet.
Well, actually, so I'm surprised this, but I am signed up.
Oh, there you go. Great.
But like all these social media channels, I've signed up. I mean, I've been signed up to Instagram for about 5 years. I've just posted this weekend for the first time, so it'll probably take me a little while to have the confidence, dare I say, or the time to. For me, it's about learning how to use it before. But sometimes I guess we just need to throw ourselves in there, don't we, and start using it. But yes, I had heard of Clubhouse. If I'm being honest, I don't really know what it is, Sarah. But I have signed up partly to make sure I get the right username in the early days.
That's a good one, actually. And actually that brings me to like the tip. Even if you don't want to manage several social media channels, it's good to set up your account, to save your username.
Yes.
You don't have to use it. You might, change your mind later, but this is, because you don't want to be, name of your company 365 or some like a bunch of numbers. So save it's basically like with domains, save your tags and save your names as soon as possible.
I have to say, I'm not surprised about voice content. Firstly, I think it's a great opportunity if you're a company out there that does voiceovers. Please get in touch. I'd love to talk to you about how you can grow your business with Sarah right now. But also, I remember my partner and I used to host foreign students a number of years ago, and they used to use WhatsApp an awful lot. But instead of typing everything, they would just send short messages to each other all the time, and that was the students back 4 or 5 years ago. And I guess that trend has just taken off in a more formalized platform. Instead of typing, you can just record a message as you're walking along and engage in a conversation.
Yeah, exactly. And to be honest, I do still have some friends that actually use voice messages quite a lot. And sometimes, to be honest, it's people sometimes are just tired of typing. And if you want to say quick thing, it's just quicker.
Yes, it saves the thumb.
Yes, exactly. And also in terms of like businesses, it can add this personality to your brand. You can be, it can better, it can allow you to connect with your listeners or users a lot better as well. So this is something, and again, Clubhouse, it's on a rise because this is Clubhouse. If people don't know, it's basically voice platform. You can invite people to your room. But basically there's no, it's all about conversation, and it's all about sharing your voice effectively with other people.
And what's going through my head right now, Sarah? I think you and I ought to break the mold, and we ought to take our Lunch and Learn webinars onto Clubhouse for the first time.
Oh, that's a great call.
We ought to set a room up and do this on Clubhouse as well, or see if we can stream it into Clubhouse at the same time. I don't know if that's possible feasibly, but either that or we do a separate Lunch and Learn on a different day in Clubhouse and just get a group of us together to talk about social media or other topics. It'd be great.
It's definitely good to pay attention to Clubhouse because it's rising, and it's a new platform. So also it will definitely be developing. So for example, if you still can't stream your webinars there yet, I'm sure it will appear later on. Yeah. But that's the thing, it's another platform that's growing because of this anger with Facebook or Instagram. And there's quite a lot of new platforms that, like, let's say people are going to Signal as well a lot more, which is equivalent of WhatsApp. So there is quite few social media platforms. There is MeWe, which is equivalent of Facebook, and they promise you no advertising and no algorithms as well. So we actually have a blog about all the upcoming platforms that we expect to take off in the next few years. So check out our blog as well with all the information. It's pretty exciting which platforms we'll be using next.
Brilliant. Lots to think about there. So lots to think about. I've never heard of MeWe. So that's similar to Facebook, you say?
Yeah, it's MeWe.
Right.
MeWe, exactly. It's still new, so not that many people are using it yet. But it's perhaps something that will it's becoming more and more popular. There is Vero. Which again promises you no ads, no algorithms. So there's quite few of them, but obviously we'll will wait and see which ones are the ones that will actually take over.
Now, if we've got somebody listening to us, Sarah, who business owner perhaps hasn't got to grips with social media, and we've probably mentioned so many different platforms in the last 35 minutes, they're feeling overwhelmed already. I don't know have you finished sharing your slides? Is there anything else you wanted to share?
Yeah, no, basically, if you have any questions, then just please get in touch.
Brilliant. Thank you. So no, my question was, if we've got somebody who's listening and thinking about social media, hasn't really got to grips with it for their business, where would you suggest they start? What's the best place to start in terms of, going online or going social with their business?
Well, I would suggest for them to contact me. Because again, I know sometimes it's a lot of people will tell you need to be on every single platform, and to be honest, yeah, it will feel overwhelming when you hear all those new platforms you haven't heard about. But actually, it's good to take a step back, think about who is your target audience, do some research in terms of which social media platforms they're using, based obviously on your industry and what you're promoting. But again, if it still feels a bit overwhelming, just get in touch. I'm happy to give you advice which platforms should be the best based on obviously our experience.
Brilliant. And I think, like any other marketing strategy, and I know you'll agree because we talked about this before, Sarah, but is to know your audience, really understand who it is you want to contact, because not every platform is suitable for every audience, is it? We talked a bit about TikTok being a fun platform, perhaps being aimed at the younger generation. If you, dare I say, you're sort of more my generation, you're more like to the mums and dads might be on either LinkedIn or on Facebook. So it's understanding who you're trying to communicate with and where they are. Is that fair to say?
Yes, absolutely. But also it's important to remember that it's changing. So TikTok is becoming more popular among older users, whilst I know a year ago you wouldn't have probably anyone older than 18 on the platform, but it's slowly changing.
Likes of me logging on, that's the thing.
There you go. You're perfect example.
Yes, and absolutely. And you said if people want to have that conversation with you, what does that look like, Sarah, in terms of getting in contact with you? What sort of services do you offer at Little Media Agency?
So just briefly, we specialize in social media marketing, where we help our clients with all things social media. So whether it's ongoing social media management, whether it's advertising, content creation, but we also do training. So sometimes we work, especially with startups, people who are just starting out and they don't know where to start and they want to ensure they start the right way. We offer training and where we take them through social media that we think they should focus on, and then which is great at the very beginning, because it gives them some strategy, it gives them some focus until they're ready to completely outsource it.
Brilliant. And I love the quote that I got on the screen. It's not a matter of whether we do social media, it's how well we do it. And one of the key things from a business strategy point of view, I do say to all my clients, is make sure in your default diary every day of the week, you carve out some time, if it's not every day, maybe 3 times a week, you carve out some time to manage your social media, because it's not a case of doing it once a week, is it? So you need to have, keep consistently working on it.
Exactly. I mean, that's the thing. It does take time, but if you put some time aside, even in little chunks, it will be a lot better. But again, try to avoid this. Okay, I remember about social media on Sunday, post a number of things everywhere, and then forget about it for 3 months. The consistency here is really important.
Absolutely. And if you feel that it's something you haven't got time to do, then Sarah's here to help. Please do get in touch with Sarah and put her contact details again on the screen. Little Media Agency, I know you've worked with a number of my clients and really helped their business to grow and develop in the last 12 months and longer. So, can't recommend Sarah enough. We have guests on these lunch and learns that we absolutely, love working with and can recommend and endorse their services. So please do get in touch with Sarah if you'd like to, just have that initial conversation. If you're new to social media, or you feel your social media is getting a bit stale and it needs that revitalizing, you want to refocus for 2021, maybe you are intrigued in Clubhouse and TikTok as I was, or maybe you've got a social media account you've never used and want to see how you can make that work for your business, then Sarah's the person to talk to. I love the idea of being able to shop through social media long term. There's some great benefits and opportunities there, aren't there?
Yeah, yeah. Well, we also see where the social media, all the trends will take us. Who knows what we will be talking about next year?
Yeah. And so I don't know if you've got a chance, maybe you could just put your link to your blog in the chat box. And we'll
Yeah,
also make sure
absolutely.
for our listeners, if they want to go and read that and learn a bit more about the trends of 2021, they can, we'll put that on the link on both LinkedIn and Facebook as well, that we are on as Action Coach. It's been great having you with us, Sarah. Just before I finish off for the last time, I just want to, if you've been listening to us today and you want to find out more about either Sarah or ourselves can help you here at Action Coach, we'd love to offer you a free coaching session. We'd love to invite you to one of our free business health checks. But we do enjoy having these lunch and learn webinars. We've had Sarah here with us today. On Wednesday, we've got another mutual friend, Sammy Mubarak, who's an estate agent in Birmingham. And Mondays, we're doing educational lunch and learn webinars. On Wednesdays, we're talking to business owners just to reflect on where they've been, how they've moved their business forward and grown their business over the last 12 months, some of the challenges of lockdown and COVID, and how they've managed not only to survive but thrive going forward, so we can share that knowledge within the business community here in Birmingham. So Wednesday, we're welcoming Sammy from Mex Estate Agency, who's going to talk about his business and how it's changed and grown in the last 12 months. So lunch and learn webinars every Monday and Wednesday at 12 o'clock. We also have our 30x growth program, 30 mini workshops, a 90-day planning workshop, and accountability calls for £30 a week. So if you're interested in that, again, please do get in touch. We'll put all our details on our social media platforms, as I know Sarah will on hers. Sarah, again, it's been absolutely fantastic having you on the Lunch and Learn this lunchtime. I'm just checking. So littlemediaagency.com/blog is the place to go and read all about Sarah's crystal ball gazing and what she believes, using all her experience and great experience that she has in determining the best way forward and how to maximize the opportunities that social media presents to us. But Sarah, thank you so much. It's great to have you for the first time here in 2021. We look forward. I know you're going to come back in a few months' time and give us an update on your own business and how your business has grown and developed throughout lockdown as well. But for now, all about social media trends. It's been great having you with us, and we look forward to catching up with you again in a few weeks' time, Sarah.
Thank you very much, and I really look forward to it too.
All right, take care, everybody. Look forward to catching up with you on Wednesday when we can hear all about Sammy and his estate agency business and how that's grown in lockdown. But for now, take care, stay well, stay safe. Bye.
Bye.